when I was about 8 years old. Some kid in the 3rd grade told me that Santa Claus wasn't real. And I think ever since then it lit a flame in me that I would like to make young children believe that their presents on Christmas morning are being brought to them by a large, rotund man in a red suit.
And then I watched the first 5 minutes of the movie with Fran Drescher. Santa here! Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. And he goes about murdering this despicable, annoying, effed up family where the son-in-law is banging the mother-in-law, and all of this, you know, you're getting Kate Spade and you're not, and it's like this despicable family, and there's James Caan going, I just want a moist turkey. I want a moist turkey Fredo. Mm-hmm. And Fran Drescher's like, moist, that'd be nice. And you're like, oh my God, please kill all of them. And then like Jesus on the mountain, there's Bill Goldberg coming down the effing chimney, and he murders the entire family and the dog. Because even the yapper dog's annoying. The dog's first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Talk Hard Tuesday is here. I hope you are doing well. Hope things are out there are going well. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and everything. Man, oh man, it is crazy this time of year. We are here doing. Look at them. All right, rock on. Talk Hard, Violent Night. I thought I was I had to make sure I had the Santa's sleigh clip back in there because that's just gold beyond gold, brother.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, I feel like Dark Helmet on Spaceballs. Go past this part. Pass this back. Never play this again.
Yeah. It's
oh man.
No, it's so good. And it makes me laugh because you're so spot on with the timing of it too. And it just, it's perfectly good.
Yes, Virginia. There is a Santa Claus.
Oh, I like the dog noise at the very end.
That's Iron. Yeah. But no, Violent Night, saying kind of like the same vein of it all. Hope you're doing well. So, Loki, my brother, here we go. Another crazy holiday horror film, if you will. Some fun, crazy action. David Harbour. Yeah, brother, let's do it.
You know, I don't agree with his politics, but boy, do I enjoy his movies and his shows. So yeah, good. I love him in this movie. From the moment he upchucks on that poor bartender lady to him taking out that the last guy in the movie, it's just it's great.
Fun ride. It's a fun ride indeed. So Ironcaster, my friend, have you seen this one before?
I have not seen this one before. This was kind of on my radar of ones to get to. Like when we were, I think, talking last year with Santa's Sleigh. Like this was kind of something I was like, I should probably watch this one too. And you know, it's like we came around for this year, and sure enough, Santa delivered.
Yep, Santa's got to do their part. So I know SQUEEKA hadn't seen it. Can't wait to hear her take on it. How are you, lovely mouse? What's going on?
I'm great. Busy wrapping up the end of the year, but yeah, this was definitely first watch, and it was a very wild ride. And Loki did not warn me that I would cry. Loki, you're supposed to tell me.
I didn't.
Although I cried everything.
Okay.
But it was awesome. It was. I want to watch it again just because I feel like there's parts I missed because I was so busy just. It was amazing. I love.
Did you cry from laughter, or was it like a heartfelt?
to cry.
A little
oh,
bit, a
that's
little
so
bit of
beautiful.
both. Like, oh yeah, a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Okay. Well, Merry Squeakmas to you, and thank you so much. Kicking us off here tonight with 5 more memberships. Those went out to Phil, TMT, Jill, Moons of Madness, Hojo, and Appion. So thank you so much, Squeeka. Merry Christmas, Merry Squeakmas to you. And welcome all Popmatics. Get out there and check out some of that exclusive content and early access type stuff that I do for everybody. And I don't know if I posted the granddaughter pictures this last round, but there'll be more coming over the next week and a half because I'll be seeing all those little critters. So can't wait. And from the Great White North himself, holding down things for us, the Wrench of Wrenches. Hail to the Tetrarchy of Talking Hard. Hail to you, Chris. And those lurking in wait. Indeed, and those out there, you are more than welcome to come and go as you need to. Talk hard. Be blessed. Chris of Persia. And thanks to Squeeka again. Yes. Beard's here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. So let's see. Pat's is in the house. Thanks. I got that wrench bonus jelly of the month club, the gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah, indeed it is.
I have a funny story about the Jelly of the Month Club.
All right.
So we were at this gathering and person had on this Jelly of the Month Club and they were like, oh yeah, and I've got on my Jelly of the Month Club shirt. I'm really ready to go. And I was like, oh, okay, well that's nice. That's really interesting and festive, I guess. I thought she was like in this club and was very excited to show it because I hadn't seen, apparently this was from a movie. And then I watched the family Christmas one this past weekend, and I was like, oh, that's what that shirt is from.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so dumb because here I was just like, oh, well, that's nice. That's okay. I'm glad. I hope it's delicious. Like,
we could do Christmas Vacation every year. There are so many quotes and quotable moments. If you have never watched it with the subtitles on, just go watch it with the subtitles on and catch pieces of things that are in the background, what the son will say when the stuff's going on over here and he's making comments about not helping the dad. He's like, yeah, I gotta go do some homework, feed the hog, pay some bills. It's just man, the best Johnny Galecki ever. All downhill from there. So.
Oh, it was hilarious. Yeah, Beard was with me, and I was like, oh my god, the jelly of the, oh my god. And then I told him about this shirt and how I was so dumb looking. Like, oh well, what flavor was it? Like, like really into like maybe she just did join a Jelly of the Month club. I had no idea what it meant.
I'm sure there's like a whole slew of like obvious quotes we could probably start throwing at Squeeka, and she wouldn't realize they're from a movie.
Oh no, it probably happens to her regularly. She's talked about it here, where it's like something will happen, and she'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know it was from this movie, or I didn't know it from that movie." So no, yeah, and that's where I've made I've probably made like 50 references to the Tylenol rant, which Loki does on a regular basis, and that is from Christmas Vacation. And I did it on Roman's show, which I think is the only reason he wants me back this year at Christmas, because they were talking about it and no one referenced the rant, and I think I had the bunny costume on, Loki, and I just went into the rant, and I'm like, this is the best freaking moment ever. It's just fantastic. So, Ego is here as well. He says, I love this movie. Yeah, Violent Night is just a complete blast, and it came along at such a great time. 2022 is such a down year of movie, and not rewatchable movies. Like, there's a whole lot of meh movies in 2022, but this movie is one of those where it may not be the greatest movie of all time, but boy, let me tell you what. Every time I watch it, I'm having some fun, having some laughs and smiles, having a good time. So we just don't do that very often anymore. So DJ Ronnie G is in the house. Yeah, Holiday Road. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. So, all right. How should we kick things off, Ironcaster? What's the best way to approach Violent Night? Because
I think probably the best way to start with this one is to at least give a general overview of the film, because this is a 2022 movie. A lot of people might not have seen this one, might not be aware that this is a thing. So I think the best place to start would be just to kind of give that initial, like, what's the selling point for this movie? I mean, yes, as you say, it's Die Hard with Santa, but I mean, there's a little more to it than that. There's a lot of kind of drawing an attention to Home Alone, for example, with this movie. Ultimately, it's about some rich, snooty elite family gets taken hostage by these glorified, bank robbers that are trying to get their wealth. Well, this is all happening on Christmas Eve, and the one person who can, make a miracle happen here and save them all is a man who performs the miracle every single year on December 24th.
Yeah, let me elaborate just a little bit, especially from the opening sequence where you have the introduction to Santa is that he is just really fed up. Like he is just done. He's at a bar. He's getting completely wasted. There's great gags about saying, "Are you driving?" He's like, "Well, the reindeer do most of the driving," because he meets a mall Santa there. So the cut up is there, and he staggers off through the door. And she's like, the barmaid is like, "Hey, that goes to the roof. Where are you going?" And then it's like, oh, he's going to the roof because he's actually the real Santa. And there's a great gag there. I don't know where I will say, well, we'll not really spoil every single joke, but it just delivered right out of the gate. You're having a good time with the crazy Santa thing and his drunk shenanigans going through the motions of delivering. And he'll see a list of the thing and it'll be like cash, 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 and video games. He's like, you freaking frickety frack. And then I don't know anybody else. Look, we should, if we don't have a screenshot, there should almost be a shirt or something where it's Santa and he's peeing and the Washington Monument is in the background. And I'm like, the metaphor is strong with this one, man. It is so freaking great. I don't even know if everyone gets all those moments, but I know for me, again, this is one of those, I wish we could watch it together because I know we'd be laughing at this.
And we haven't even gotten to the family yet. The family.
No, this is all introduction stuff.
And
just
that's the best part is the introduction doesn't tell you any bit of what's coming, whatsoever.
And well, actually, I guess really, I think probably a good place to start is just kind of commenting on how great David Harbour looks as Santa.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They even go so far, and it's really kind of funny because in the early part of the movie, they go as far into the Coca-Cola, like the drunk Coca-Cola stereotype, which is that version we get. Even these wire glasses, which he never wears again once they come off. Like once they're gone, they're gone. But it's like, it's so good to create that imagery and then just completely uproot it. So how did that sort of like play out for you, SQUEEKA, where you're kind of immersed into like the drunk Santa setup before we even get to the story?
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. I loved every second of it. I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I'm all in. Like, just in the conversation with the guy at the bar, the scenes, like him going through the houses, and even just his movements of like, you could tell how fed up he was, and like him, the drinks he would have, like just the way he would always go for the cookies, like just there was so many small little gags, and just the way he moved, it was I didn't know where it was going. I was just like, I was cracking up every time something would happen, and I would be like, oh, like the trading the lump of coal for the beers, that cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved it. I didn't really feel any kind of, oh, how could you do this to my Santa? I was like, yeah, I guess if I were Santa, might be where I'd be at right now too.
Yeah, he was he's a blast, and this scene just gives you just a nice little tickle and fun little setup stuff, and yeah, just really
He's
good
talking
stuff.
about like, this may very well be my last Christmas. I'm sick and tired of this. Everybody's asking for money. Nobody's being, good to each other. He's sick of this. He is tired of it. He's on the verge of just being like, yak. And then he yaks all over the bartender.
Oh, dude, it's freaking nuts. It's completely insane. I love it. Love it. It's great. It makes me made me smile. And I forget how good some of those moments are, I guess, too. So okay, so then to elaborate a little bit on what Ironcaster said, we have this checking the boxes family, kind of like beta male guy, female black lady, they have a kid, they're estranged. So she's really like the cutesy main character type girl who believes in Santa and wants them to get back together because they're not really together. And they're going to go off to see his family, which are like uber wealthy, snotty, nasty. Talk about reminding me of Santa's sleigh. Like it just, they're just not as outlandish as the Santa Sleigh cast is, but it's just that same smarmy, you love to hate them type characters.
I will say with her character, I like the little girl in this. She came across as likable, not too annoying. She's really is a little like star of the film for a lot of good.
Well, I know some people might think it's kind of disjointed, but I liked the fact that, we go from the scene with Santa and then we go to the scene with them in the car, and you really don't see the whole family issue coming, like the money and the wealth and stuff, until you get past the gates, and then you start seeing the house and things like that, and even his sister and her family. Like, there's so many different elements, but it all works together really well, and you don't stop laughing. Like, I laughed for most of this movie, except for the parts I
Agreed.
cried at. But it
yeah,
was
I agree.
I didn't, even when they got in the car, I didn't see it coming that it was a wealthy family, you know what I mean, issue. Like, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, they kind of lean into that slowly, so that it's not really spoiled how uber wealthy they are. So, if Home Alone was a true crime documentary, that weird kid would have been unalived in the first 20. Yeah, maybe. What kid eats cheese pizza, chocolate milk, ice cream? It's a total dairy. Yeah, Western. Yeah, that's true. Soul Assassin. You also see Violent Night with the Doom music video. It's amazing. Huh. I don't know what he's talking about. You guys know? I have no idea what he's talking about.
No.
I don't know. So yeah, I wanted to, so when we get to the wealthy family, like you said, they go slowly. Like, you have a person at the gate, they get into the mansion, the caterers are there, someone's screaming at someone over doing something wrong, and you get to the sister and her douchebag quasi actor who's based on like Mark Wahlberg for sure, like total Mark Wahlberg type rumors and stereotypes. Like, have you seen me in this movie? It's like, and he's totally like that Guitar Hero era nerd, where like they think that he can do martial arts in a movie, so therefore he thinks he could do real martial arts. Sorry for all you Guitar Hero lovers out there, but that's my personal people that I know that like could do good on Guitar Hero. Thought they could actually play guitar. It always made my head hurt, but I get it.
Edie Patterson is the sister, and she is always this absolutely insane, twisted. I can't say the word on Pops's channel.
C word.
I was going to say the TWA.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm not supposed to say that word. I've tried. The Brits can say this word. Where Mrs. Pops and I have a okay, let's do a PSA for a moment. For those of you at home, know Mrs. Pops gets me in trouble, and I'm like, wait, it's a word in Brits, and I'm going to say it, so I'm going to be in trouble. They use the term twat waffle, and I don't understand why I'm not allowed to use the word. Like, it's a word. It's like a phrase. It's not like the same way we use it, but they use it. And I think as long as I denote that it's a British thing, I should be allowed to use it. Squeeka, feel free to help me out at any moment, but
You can be British anytime you want to, Pops.
Fair enough. It's she
Let's
definitely.
be clear. You can only say it with your pinky extended.
I'll run that by her and see how that goes, and we'll let you know if I have 9 fingers next week. So I get it. Okay, fair enough.
If you can't get enough of this chick, if you're like, oh my God, she is absolutely nuts, completely crazy, you can see her in Principles, which is a show that lasted 2 seasons on HBO that was absolutely hilarious. You can see her in The Righteous Gemstones, where she plays almost the exact same character that you're getting here, which is take it or leave it. I think it's funny. She's nuts, and I can only imagine if I ever met her, she'd be this nuts in real life. She's got to be one of those people that just plays herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's why they keep hiring her for roles like this.
Yeah, she's really good, and everyone really. I think it's what Squeaky did so well is explaining it too. It's like you just feel like everything feels real. You feel like you're there with these different characters and all the different dynamics, but then they do take pauses and they try to give you some heart. And this is very integral how they clearly are being called out. The dad totally sucks. He didn't take her to see Santa. Everything. She's like uber into believing, uber into Christmas, right? And then he's like, I'll give you this present. And it's about a walkie-talkie. You can talk to Santa. And I just want my parents to get back together type stuff. So again, Home Alone meets Die Hard. Die Hard's coming, but this is all that sweet, put the syrup on stuff, Ironcaster. Make sure everybody loves the little girl. Make sure that she's going to be the one pulling on old Santa's heartstrings when he finds out. And that's kind of what's being set up for sure.
Yeah, they really don't lay it on too thick with her character. It's just she's just kind of, good enough. And the thing that I think really helps offset that is the fact that all the other so many of these other characters are all so unlikable. You've got the cousin over here who's the social media influencer who's making it all about himself, and he's got to make sure he's talking to his chat. Hey chat, make sure you drop some a super chat, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that cool stuff. Ugh.
And then it doesn't take long before we cut back to Santa. He's arriving at their house. Go ahead.
Like, I look at this guy. The first thing he came on was Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh yeah, you blew up our tweet, our text thing. We like that. Like, man, if Ethan Van Sciver was actually working out or something, and I'm like, wow, it does kind of have a little bit of that look and feel. What do you think, Loki?
Oh yeah, definitely. But he's never gonna lay off the pie. That bastard.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Pie down, wake up.
Talking about.
Yeah, there's a content creator, comic book artist, that kind of thing. We'll not going to derail into that, but we'll go right into the TW. Tame compared to other terms. Oh, I know. I'm not allowed to use these terms though. I mean, I'm usually warned off of them as soon as I discover them. So
One of the things I like too was the fact that there's not a whole lot of weird exposition. Like, they play their part so well, and it's kind of oddly cohesive that even if you are blindsided, like, oh, where's his family headed, or oh, what does this mean? Like, then the crazy family comes in with the sister, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. And then the mom starts walking by, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, it just rolls right into another, to where there doesn't need to be a lot of this, by the way, I'm a rich guy and here's my family problems. They just kind of, they act, and and it comes out in their character exactly what the issues are here.
yeah, all good stuff for sure. And then it kind of like it's easing in. It takes about the first 30 minutes. And you're easing into the takeover of the house, and they come across Santa. So this little tiny Asian man, the gun is nearly as big as he is. It's so absurd. He's got Santa cornered, and then we have our first sort of like big fight scene where they're gonna kind of start wailing into each other. Santa's magic isn't working. He tries to strangle Santa. And I just gotta be, again, wish I could see SQUEEKA's face. I know Loki and I are laughing so much. We know not to be drinking while these scenes happen, because it's just freaking so great to see giant heavy Santa. I don't know, Ironcaster, what was going through your mind? Like, what on earth is happening?
Well, there's a few things this movie did I really loved. I really love seeing. It's seeing them taking, some of the Christmas elements and really playing with those in some creative ways. Oh, we're gonna take some lights. We're gonna strangle someone with these. Like, I was almost surprised we didn't get to the point where they didn't use like a giant, candy cane to like pull someone like a crook.
No, he stabbed it through. He stabbed somebody with a candy cane, though.
Well, he did. Didn't he later like hook that one guy with his big metal candy cane or something that he got out of his bag? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, he went to town with someone on that candy cane. Really stuck it to him.
I mean, he did the same thing with the star. The star top
star's
with the tree.
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
A little bit. Yeah, that's back in this. That's when they have him captured, and it's a big fight. I know these scenes are completely crazy, aren't they?
He's biting down on a coaster so he can stitch up his wounds.
Yeah. This is down where you're getting the star in the face, and his face catches on fire.
The number of times I was like, "Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Wait, what? Oh my gosh!"
Here's his face catching on fire.
No way!
I laugh so hard. I love it
what?
so much. Oh, it's so good. And then it's one of these things too, where again, while this is all happening, again, this is where great family movies work. They're all stuck in here with John Leguizamo and the terrorist group and the people taking over or whatever. And then poor little Trudy, sweet little Trudy, is the one on the phone. But I'm gonna get out of the way. I think John Leguizamo is probably the biggest problem in this movie. Like, I think he's very miscast as this little, tiny, not really intimidating alpha kind of guy. Like, I don't get it, but that's just it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's one of the it's if I had the biggest negative, that's probably one of the ones for sure. What do you guys think? Am I totally off the base there?
No. I mean, yeah, he's kind of the tamest of them all. He's definitely, if you compare this to what he was doing in his 20s, this is like, is this the same guy? Yeah,
He's
it
the-
is. He sounds the same. He looks the same. He acts the same, kind of, but a lot more toned down.
At least they
He's
were
the
leaning into
violator.
80s. So they were leading into 80s and 90s tropes. They didn't go with an 80s, 90s lead alpha mastermind. You know what I'm saying? Like, the crew felt right. The crew was fine, but the main alpha guy seemed like it would be more of a robust, toxic male. Like, it just seemed like that was the box. Instead, they got John Leguizamo, and I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird. Anyway, so they get away with it a little bit because they bring in the other snowmobile team, like totally Die Hard 2. Like, they bring in the snowmobile team. That dude is like a total Chad, but yeah.
I did not see that part come in. I was all on board with them being the rescue team. And then when they flip, oh man, that was crazy.
They got you. They got you.
It got me. I was like up out of my chair, like, no, you didn't. That's wrong. You're going to be on the naughty list. I called that part. I was like, that's not nice.
All right. So, Ironcaster, what'd you think of the Beverly D'Angelo inclusion? Did you catch that reference there?
I didn't recognize her.
It took me about half the movie before I realized, oh my God,
Okay.
that's Beverly D'Angelo.
Okay.
That was the first time I saw it.
Okay, she's the lady. She's the wife in the vacation movies. Squeeka, we're talking about. I think before she's the wife in the vacation.
Oh,
movies.
I didn't
Beverly
put those two
D'Angelo.
together.
Yeah, she
Ellen
talks a
Griswold.
lot. I talked to her. I saw her talking about the vacation movies last year, a year before, and saw how she looked, so I could see, where her age is and the plastic surgery and blah blah blah. So yeah, I thought it was great inclusion. Though again, more callbacks to the 80s and 90s. Is kind of how I felt. So.
I will say I did like her character. She's just this kind of cold, ruthless B-word that, the family are all trying to kind of, their own ways either suck up to or kind of stab in the back. It's like you kind of understand where they all lie and why they're doing what they're doing.
Oh, 100%. She definitely pulls off the uber wealthy matriarch that everyone loves to hate, nasty to the core. So. Pat S is bagging on Leguizamo as the clown in Spawn. By the way, if you like Spawn, skip the movie, watch the HBO series. It's a masterpiece. Okay, so I don't hate him as much as the clown. I just don't like the movie. The HBO series is a masterpiece. I did videos on season 1. I need to circle back and do more. I do love Spawn. I'm a Spawn nerd because I just love great art and great, crazy graphic nonsense. So, what about you?
Same here. Exactly the same. Love
Yeah.
Spawn. I've got the first 75 issues, 1 through whatever.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. I've even got some of those Spawn Gunslinger comics. So
The
do you know
Gunslinger-
you Pops?
Gunslinger is rock and roll, man. If you haven't read Gunslinger, the art in Gunslinger Spawn is freaking amazing. Now the story just goes on too long. Like, I admit, once you're issue 13, it's like, okay, we haven't resolved the crap that was in issue number 2. We stopped doing cool, sexy cameos and stuff, but hey, it's still a beautiful book. Lots of action, lots of blood and guts. Yeah, Spawn's a fun book. So,
yep.
And I think that's what I'm trying to say. So, love the fight scenes, love that kind of stuff, basically. So, Daryl the Derelict. How do you do, Buckaroos? Watched last night. So good. Can't stay. Have a great show. Oh, what have you in, Daryl? We got to figure out how to get those schedules, man. So.
Greetings program.
I know, Soul Assassin, great horror western. Sadly, they're still talking about some movie called King Spawn and possibly Jamie Foxx still. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, Soul Assassin. So sorry, SQUEEKA. We went down comic book nerddom for a moment there. We'll sidetrack back to the movie.
Wait, SQUEEKA, have you seen Spawn?
No, she has no idea what Spawn is.
What do you take me for? Yes, I've seen Spawn. I have some of the McFarlane collectible figurines, actually.
Ooh,
I like
somebody
hot
just
chicks
came
in
out.
armor.
Somebody just came
Wow.
out and spanked that whole theory of Squeaker. Don't know what we're talking about.
Man, that's
I
good
don't know the
stuff.
comic books. I do. I have seen the movie and I have some figurines, but I yes, I've seen Spawn, and that's. I know there's other Spawns. That's the only one I like. Is that particular one? What McFarlane? McFarlane. That's the only one I like.
Okay.
I-
All right.
I'd say it sounds like we might be having to go revisit that movie here soon. So
I'm not sure we're going to revisit the movie. I'm not sure I'm doing that again. It
I'm putting it on the
it just
list.
hurts. It just hurts a lot. I'd rather see if we could
Wait, why
figure
does
out
it
how to,
hurt?
because it's just not good. It's just not good. Like and it hasn't aged well. I tried to rewatch
like this and the whole movie, and yeah, I'm
and him. Look, I'm not about race swapping or whatever, but it literally is like a racist thing. Like we didn't want the black dudes, like we changed it to a white dude. It's like it's just so much of this contrived nonsense. Like the animated series, though, man, the animated show is freaking graphic and intense. And ooh,
Okay, well, I'll try the animated series though. I've only seen the Spawn movie once, and I think that's when it came out because I was with a bunch of people that liked
okay,
Spawn.
the animated
So
series is much more hardcore and definitely more in line with the comic books, sort of like it's pieces.
Funny how
of
it
them.
always works like that.
Yeah, it's pieces of them. You can't do every single page, every single moment, but at least you're in the right universe for sure. Die Hard vibe. Yeah, we're getting into the Die Hard part of the show because this is a scene where he's like he gotten stabbed, so he literally is doing like the Rambo thing of he's talking to literally John McClane. He's like on the walkie-talkie with the little girl, trying to sew himself up. So it's great. Sits back, doing a little heart to heart. Yeah, this was totally out of Die Hard at this point for sure. So yeah, love it.
man, when he whipped off that top and all those tats and stuff came out, and had to pause.
Had a little Kumite moment.
Yes, who knew? Who knew Santa? Who knew?
Kumite.
I'm like, there's me some Christmas magic.
There we go. He's and the sewing it up with the paper and the what on earth?
That's my favorite part.
You had to have laughed, Ironcaster. You had to just totally like.
Although, I wish they had gone the extra mile with it, and for whatever reasons, like Santa can only tie things in a big Christmas bow.
Yes, that's what I wanted too. I wanted to see the big fluffy bow. I'm like, oh, Santa, you letting me down. Where's your Christmas spirit?
Santa just looks down like, I don't know how. I only know how to tie Christmas bows.
I don't even know how you could have pulled that off to make it really work smoothly. I feel like Loki and I would be in the writer's room. It's like, do they effing really want us to do this? Like, we've got to make the bow actually work. And they're like, yes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. This is going to look how are we going to pull this off? He doesn't even have a shirt on. He's covered in tattoos. Isn't this enough? He's like literally using
Viking tattoos.
He's like using wrapping paper. It's like they want a big bow. It's like, tell them no. It's like that'd be the writer's room. But yeah, I don't know, man. It works enough for me. And like I said, he does this is this sweet Die Hard moment. We're an hour in. We're right at this moment. Like he's going to be all in now, going forward. And you get the backstory a little bit, and talks about what he wants and the Viking thing. He talks about his hammer and stuff. So yeah, I like that. I thought that was, and it was interesting to see them give us something a little bit different. So again, trying to make their own way as well, not being totally derivative. I don't know. What did you guys think of the hammer thing? That's got to be kind of a comes out of the blue kind of thing, right?
Well, it's if you see his tattoos, so he's got Norse tattoos. So in Norse mythology, Odin is the leader of the wild hunt, which happens around Christmas time. Now, when they put the Yule log in and all of that, they bring in a huge evergreen. They completely strip it and they use it in the longhouses to heat over the winter. This is your Christmas tree. This is all stuff that was mixed in with Christianity when the Vikings, when the Scandinavians joined with England and basically teamed up on a permanent basis and conformed to Christianity. Could Santa be Odin? It's possible. Could he be Thor? That is also possible. So the hammer thing, I was like, okay, maybe this is the original Santa's son and it's Thor, and because it makes perfect sense. If you know about the Wild Hunt, you can look it up. I'm not joshing you. I know you're like, you're Loki, but seriously, I'm not Lokiing you. Don't blame me. It's true. Odin was the leader of the Wild Hunt. So, and the Wild Hunt signifies Christmas because he's literally pulled by a sled with like deer. So it's all there. It's all there. There were joint beliefs joined when the Scandinavians joined with England for Christianity. The Viking tattoos immediately set it off for me. I was like, okay, that's where they're going. He's the leader of the Wild Hunt. So yeah, I loved it. I loved the whole hammer thing. All of that was like, yes, that's my cup of tea.
See, I thought it was great, but for myself, I wish they had gone into a little bit more depth with it, because it's like we just got a tease of that story. And I'm not saying we need to have an entire movie about that, as great as that might be, but there's just too many little elements there that we've not bothered to even touch on. Like, what about, the magic sack, the reindeer? This is like, there's a lot of elements that we're not getting any details about, and I really wish would have gotten at least like a line or two more in the film that could have given me enough information to be able to start kind of filling in some gaps that they leave unexplained.
I think they did that
they left it
intentionally.
unexplained. I love
I think
that.
I think they did that intentionally so that you could kind of go where you wanted. They're not trying to be like, okay, we want you to connect all these dots. Just kind of throw it out there and let the people decide for themselves.
Well,
Maybe some people are like, oh, he's a Viking. Oh, he's a metalhead. Oh, he's this. And you have no idea. So go with it where you want. That used to be what made cinema great, is they let you kind of explore that on your own. Go ahead, SQUEEKA.
Oh no, sorry. I agree, and I think it goes along with the running gag of, I don't know, Christmas magic. Like, it makes you feel like you're part of that in joke. Like, oh, I don't know how this works, but hey, Christmas magic. Let's watch the rest of the movie. Like, I feel like you're part of that little joke because they don't explain everything.
And
I would only say I can agree with Ironcaster, and I wouldn't ruin the thing either way. I would go back to the previous fight scenes, and I would make a comment with the little Asian guy. And it's like, make a comment that he's drunk. He's so close to being drunk. That's why he's having a struggle with the little Asian guy. Like, dude, if I just one less beer, well, it's just something to hint. And then when he's fighting the other guy, he's pulling the things out of the bag and he can't find a weapon. It's like, if I find a hammer, you are done. You do realize, something that just ties it and gives you a little more, oh, that means something. And then later it's a callback. But I'm kind of fine either way. I feel like this also would lend itself to another chapter, a Violent Night 2, more of this stuff. I hope that actually manifests itself at some point, but I like it kind of both ways. I get where they're doing, and I also like the fact that they don't try to spoon feed us too much, for sure. Then we kind of have sort of like this first little element with she's going to be a little bit on her own. There's a quick little setup earlier in the movie with the girl having stayed up late and having seen Home Alone. So she is very inspired by that because he's telling her, you got to sit tight and kind of lay low. And he's going to try to figure out how to do things. And she sets up some booby traps. And this is the next little sequence for 20 minutes or so. And what I really love about all of this, I'm just jumping around, is the fact that this is usually the drag time in the movie. This is when the movie would really start to suck quite a bit and kind of feel a little long-winded, where they get into the safe and it's empty and, oh, we don't care about the characters. But we're getting enough of the characters to be all right before we get back to her. Because I think any different version of this movie could have done any or most of this wrong. Like any other sort of like creative team could have dabbled with this movie and spent too much time on the brother or the goofy little son with his little podcast thing, or too much on the bad guys. It just seemed like it just did just enough to ping everything right, and that's what kept SQUEEKA so happy, in my opinion. It did everything right. Just kind of kept everybody going along pretty quick. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that was my general feel for it now that I'm on my sixth watch of this movie. I think the Ironcaster would probably agree with this scene here too, where he has the power to kind of look to see who's naughty or nice or whatever, who they are. So when the snowmobile guys show up and he realizes what he's up against, he's like, ah, crap, I'm dealing with like uber naughty guys. And this is totally a Die Hard 2 twist and callback. So if SQUEEKA, I don't think you hadn't seen the Die Hard movies, or you've only seen the first one, right?
Yeah, I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, so the second movie has a snowmobile type sequence and stuff as well. So totally calling back to that for us uber nerds. Let's see here what other kind of imagery we can get to. Yeah, the vault stuff and their little code names are fine. I didn't think anything was too much with this, and it's just a lot of who wears the money, who has the money, what's going on, while Santa is fighting bad guys. And yeah, she's got to hold her own now with this sequence, and this is truly done well. Right? Because you said you had seen Home Alone last year, right?
Yes, and yes, I love this part because I was thinking maybe it was going to mimic per se. So, I mean, and it did copy some of them, but at the same time, I was like, oh, well, where's this going to go? And it was really well done, especially this part where he does the call out. Like, this isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it like I think that's exactly right, because it's enough for you to know what's coming, but it's not going to go as you thought, right? It's not going to be exactly Home Alone and that. And again, this is why it works so well, because they have a shot with the glue and whatever, and you get a little bit of that in Home Alone. They decide to go a little bit further when she pulls her face away, her head away, and they're like literally a chunk of her scalp is missing or whatever. And there's just constant stuff going on that, it's at least a lot more realistic than Home Alone. Like, I mean, the paint cans to the face would probably nearly kill you, hit you in the right way. So at least this movie dared to go a little further with that.
It still had a lot of the same moments that Home Alone had, which I liked, where, for me, I was like, oh, no, don't do the, oh my goodness, no. Like this was a very active movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it still had that same feel, which I liked. It wasn't too over the top. It wasn't too underdone. It referenced the movie, and then it kind of, to me, it delivered really well.
It's so graphic and yet so insane. And also just like, I actually was just laughing and loving every bit of it, because it's just completely crazy. It gives you what you want. It gives you that Home Alone feel without it being exactly the same. So, but yeah, you guys in chat, if any of you seen it or not seen it, love your thoughts on these different sequences and kind of how they call back or pay homage to those films without just being exactly like this. I think this is such an underrated approach to all of that.
Even down to how smarmy the little girl was, like even down to her little attitude.
Well, she was kind of like Kevin, right? Because she was like, yes, got him, you know what I mean? But she never was like unlikable, you know? Yeah.
She's one of the most likable people in the movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He gets his hammer and then he's starting to be naughty, and she's trying to encourage him. And it's kind of funny how they make that, like, the thing with the kid and Santa is also handled so well, because she is his inspiration now to carry on. He like Loki, you said earlier, like he's ready to like cash it in, man. I'm done. Hang this up. I'm not doing this anymore. But she literally has single-handedly given him motivation to tap into his inner Krampus and go, I can pick up a hammer and I can take care of things in a different way if I have to. Like, we're not going to do this. We're going to do this my way. And he is ready to kick butt and take names in this scene. And he's sweet because he takes a pause, right? And he tells her, I know, SQUEEKA, you had to smile, because he's like, oh, no. And hey, girl, why don't you turn around and sing Jingle Bells really loud? Oh.
Yes. I liked that part too, where it was like, just like in Home Alone, there's this moment where you're like, oh wait, what's going to happen? And she gets rescued.
Yep. Yeah. Very, very good. Very good. The heart comes through as well. You just feel very connected to him, and you're cheering for him very much so at this point. Then we have to come back to the bottom because the chaos is still going on. And this guy, we haven't really talked about him. He's in the middle here. He is completely like just a psychopath. He really is enjoying just torturing them and just wants to kill them the sake of murder for the sake of murder kind of stuff. So you got to find a way to like how are they going to deal with that? Like it can't always be about Santa. So they do find a good way to kind of have that kind of play for a laugh as well in a way. Like you're just, you're rooting for them. And I don't know, it's kind of a sick, twisted way of looking at it, Loki, but it literally how to bring a family together.
How to
a bunch of
bring a
miserable
family
sots.
together.
Oh, using the fire pokers to just beat the assailant. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, dear Lord, it's so much fun. This movie was so
He
much fun.
deserves it, though. He totally deserved it. He absolutely, positively deserved it. And no, it's a chance to bring the family together at a time of joy.
Yep.
And cheer.
And then in walks Santa with the little girl, hammer in hand, covered in blood. Like, what am I looking at here? Yeah, this is actually Santa. I just so everybody knows. So, and one thing that's unspoken in this movie, how old do you guys think she is? She's a very old Santa believer, right?
Right. She looks
I mean,
like
she's-
maybe 10 or 12.
Yeah, I was going to say, she seems like she's over 9. We've always considered 9 to be the age where, starting to get dicey. What's going to happen at school and blah, blah, blah. So after 5 kids and having grandkids now, 9 kind of becomes the pivot. Sometimes they'll go a little longer, but once you get to like this kid seems like 10, 11, like you said, maybe. So she seems like a very old Santa believer. And the fact that that's what they went with, I think is even sweeter because she is literally just an embodiment of pure innocence. That literally 100% proven right too. Like you were saying, SQUEEKA, earlier too, like a little confidence, a little chip on her shoulder now. Like, look at what I did. I found my Santa. Yeah. She's going to town. So, and then you have sort of like that last 30 minutes or so with a lot of gunplay and the confrontation with Santa, who has to deal with the Leguizamo's Mr. Scrooge character now. Again, the weakest part is that he's just not believable enough for me.
He's not sinister. There is no sinister. That thing that makes you hate Hans Gruber for whatever reason is sorely lacking.
Yes. Oh, I couldn't put my finger on it for the longest time. I did not like him in this part either. And I thought it was just because I didn't see the movie. But you're right. Now that I think of Hans Gruber, oh, yes, he doesn't have like an angry face either. Like he doesn't seem serious
It's not
enough.
menacing. It's not menacing.
Look at how
Hans
small he
better
is.
feature face than he does.
In Die Hard, he could smile at you. He could be smiling, and that venom was still there. That of course, is Alec Rickman, but that venom was still there. It's that what's behind the mask. I can smile at you and I'm like, oh, everything's great. What's behind the mask? He doesn't have a mask. He's just like, I'm just here for the money. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to talk like this. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get angry. I may joke a little bit here and there, but it's kind of like he just phoned it in. He's like, this movie's never going to make any money, so I might as well just go in there and act like me and do whatever. He's not, there's that cold stone killer thing is missing. And I know he can do it because I've seen him do it in other movies, but in this movie, it's just not there.
Do you think maybe he's intentionally trying to play the part of someone who's not truly bad? He just got a really messed up rap at Christmas one time. Like he goes on his whole exposition. Like, do you think maybe they were trying to stick to that side where he's not a super, super bad guy?
It's possible, but they do some super, super bad guy stuff.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
He was getting
I think he's just
nutcracker homeboy's balls.
That part? Oh my god! Like I'm not even a guy, and I was like, oh my god, hold up.
I think that he's just miscast. He's too small. Look at him next to David Harbour. I mean, like it's just not believable. He's going to hold his own against Santa in this sort of like physical thing, and And I just totally agree with the menacing thing, like Alan Rickman. Because remember, whenever they figure out who Takagi is, and they move Takagi away, and Alan Rickman's character Hans looks at Holly briefly, and he has this sort of like staring, smirky look on his face, and you're like, "Crap, that dude is not someone you want to mess with." This is a guy who like says you shouldn't mess with me, and he does kind of back it up in some ways, but it's just not as believable, and definitely not against a magical being like
That's a
Santa's.
Viking.
Yeah. That's definitely the thing for sure. So, but again, folks, for the you who haven't seen this, not the worst thing in the world by any stretch of imagination, but that to me is sort of like the worst element of the movie, if you will. But the way they dispatch this, I'm not even sure I want. I mean, it's completely nuts. So I kind of spoiled it, but I didn't mean to spoil it. But I'm just like, wow, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, even though I've seen the movie and I know it's coming, I almost still don't really know it's coming. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Loki, do you feel me a little bit? Like it's sort of like it's hand to hand, and you're like, what? And it's like that's what happens. And you're like, whoa, holy crap, that's hardcore. So
there are some really good hardcore moments in this movie. And that's what keeps you going in the movie. It's got the die hard, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe I saw that. It's got all that. So that's why it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in it. For sure. And then random snowmobile guy who we have no skin with. We don't care if he stays or goes. We didn't get any menacing. We just heard verbal nonsense. He just shows up for another moment for Beverly Angelo to kind of like decide what kind of team she's going to be on. Is she going to be on her team, her selfishness side, or is she going to be on Team Santa? So again, this is the little elements that keeps this from being like that home run. My gosh, you guys have to see this movie. It's like this is the muddled elements that are there. It's not terrible, but it is a little muddled with how they kind of rush and threw things together. So yeah, and then you have the heartfelt, sweet, he's actually Santa, yeah, there's a sister, there's Edie. What is going on? It's like, Santa, don't die, Santa.
I cried. I cried a lot.
You got emotional, right? Oh my God, they killed Santa. So Santa's not dead. Can't kill Santa. So anyway, I wish I had a little more.
With the deer, I love
him
this
and
part.
him and the deer. That is one thing we didn't hit on when we started was the conversation he has with the deer on the house, where he's like, "You poop everywhere. You're like pigeons." And they're like, "Oh," and they like lower their heads, like, "We're sorry, boss."
Yeah,
his deer have attitude.
Be professional. Like, get in the game. Like, it's done really well. And I was getting ready to say, I wish there was a little bit more with the reindeer because it is done so well and believable. And sometimes the reindeer are usually some of the worst things in Christmas movies. Like, we could talk about some of the movies that are kind of held back by not having great moments with reindeer, but this movie did a really good job with reindeer, and kind of wish I had a little more, to be honest. So I'm trying to backtrack to a reindeer shot so I can see if I can find one real quick. So yeah, what do you think, Squeak? All right, Ironcaster back. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ironcaster.
Oh, I was just saying it didn't find enough job, bringing the reindeer and just kind of make them a part of it, but at the same time, treating them, giving us a justifiable reason for why they're not there. So it didn't find enough job of kind of pulling them out of the film for, the need of having to keep them around.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. I think that we get enough reindeer stuff to love and have some fun with it, but we didn't get anything totally ruined. But yeah, it's good. More reindeer stuff would have been good. So. All right. Well, let's see. Ironcaster. Any final thoughts or anything like that we should touch on real quick?
Sorry, I had to get pulled away there. at the end of the movie, I think it does a fine job kind of giving us sort of a little bit of a Christmas message with like what is otherwise a fairly awful family. That,
Oh yeah.
that they all kind of come together by the end and they find the spirit of the holidays.
They do. They do. Santa's reborn, right? Like Santa's quite literally reborn by the end of the movie, finding purpose. Like he's been rejuvenated, wants to carry on. You get allusions to this sweet little Mrs. Claus that's out there somewhere thinking about him also. You just get a little bit of it. I think they did such a fine job with that. And they make me want more, to be perfectly honest. They make me want more. So I don't know. What do you think, Squeeka? It's your first time?
I agree. And I mean, I was worried there wasn't a Mrs. Claus, to be honest, just because he said he wanted to see her again. Like I kind of took that as he had the same feelings that she had about her parents, like they were separated, and that's why he was like, oh, I can't do this. And I thought that was like the little sub story of like him and the missus weren't together. So because I had that preconceived notion, I was really kind of excited when I saw the little note, and I was like, oh, Mrs.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah, Mrs. C's out there.
So I
These
thought
are
it
the
was
reindeer.
really cute.
They're really done well. This is
They
the
are. I
scene where
love those reindeer.
he's like squishing, and he's like, oh dear, it's like he's stepping in it. Which one of you did that?
Yeah.
Act professional. It's like Rudolph wouldn't have done that, and I thought it was great. That's a great
They, like,
reference.
they hang their heads.
Rudolph's
They,
fine,
like,
yes.
they're like look down and they hang their heads. So it's one of two things. Either they're like, sorry, boss, or they're like, F you, we have to haul your fat ass around all night. So it's one or the other.
Yep.
You go either way. I think it's great. I think the few scenes you did get with the reindeer were absolutely spot on.
I'll say we have donkeys, not reindeer, obviously, but I can say when you are disapproving of them at all and they immediately hang their head, I mean, you feel it. You're like, whoa, it's sad. I mean, it hurt its feelings or what. I mean, literally, that's how these giant animals respond to things. So I assume a reindeer is very similar indeed. So, all right. Any other last thoughts or anything else I should try to pull up real quick before we go around with some other thoughts? Wrap up.
I
We
think
hit most things.
Go ahead, Ironcaster.
Oh, I was asked, did you guys touch on how great a lot of the action was for even with like the barn scenes where it's kind of a lot of it's kind of in the dark, which makes sense, but you kind of wish you could see it better.
I like how he whipped out the ice skates. Like it went back to that scene. Like everything was Christmas related. The old Christmas thing. Like all of the weapons used were almost all old Christmas stuff. And like the ice skates. And I just was like, yes, thank you.
You know what my favorite kill was? Where Santa takes the grenade and shoves it down the dude's pants.
Yes.
And he starts to walk away, and he's not. Wait, I gotta see this.
Yeah. The only thought I remember the first time I saw this, I thought they were going to do like Joker in Dark Knight, where the grenade wasn't going to go off right away, and he was going to be like, he turns around and then it explodes. You know what I mean? But no, they do it well. I want to defend this. I want to defend the lighting call because I think in the barn scene, if you had done a lot more lighting or you'd been able to see all that, the blood and the graphic nature of that really would have almost been too much. It would have created more of a gruesome film that's contrasting to what they were going for. At least that's what I think. I don't know Loki, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. And we're talking about the little things and the things we noticed that point in the beginning when he finds that scotch and he's like, pre-war. You don't say pre-war like that unless you lived then. It's not like something that just did, pre-war scotch. Yeah, and he pours him a glass and drinks it. Oh, that's good stuff. Good mix with the cookies. It's little things like that you're like, wow, was he alive before World War II? Is this, how long has he been alive? And you start thinking and you see the, tats later and so on and so forth. But yeah, man.
Yeah, very good point. Very good stuff. He's like sneaking cookies in his pants, and they're just baggy and just.
He's got the candy cane. He's got the candy cane. He's got this big ass candy cane in his pocket.
We've all sucked one of those candy canes down to that fine point and thought about just sticking someone with it.
Thought about it.
SQUEEKA
There
did
it is. 1938, little pre-war. Oh yeah. He's a Johnny Walker Blue guy. I don't know.
Is that out of Detroit?
Not this movie. Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I think this is a fun action horror movie. Again, Die Hard, Home Alone with Santa exceeded all my expectations. I was so glad that I had seen it right away. I can't even tell you how many times I watched it since. I think it was around this time. I definitely was Santa's Sleigh. Santa's Sleigh we did before Hell Comes to Frogtown. So these are movies we couldn't get anywhere else. And Loki's like turned me on to that program to get those copies, and that's when I ended up getting this and I've watched this movie at least 6 or 8 times. So yeah. Guilty pleasure. I don't know, whatever it is. So all right, SQUEEKA, let's talk about like your final thoughts, ranking the movie, kind of how you feel about this.
Well, I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, I do want to go back, and I know I say this about every movie, but I really want to watch this one again, simply because I feel like I got caught up in the what's fixing to happen next. And I think there's a lot of little humor bits that I missed. Like I totally missed the pre-war line. Like I'm so sad now that I was like, wait, oh man, and I even like Scotch. This is sad. So I wanna watch it for all those small little bits and the gags that I missed and things like that, because there's so many in here that you kind of get caught up in some of the action. And I mean, as far as rating it, it's like a solid, like it's up there. It's like an 8 out of 10. Like I mean, I
That's my
might
mouse.
have liked this more than Home Alone. Just saying.
That's my mouse.
Sorry, guys. But
That's my snow
and
Mauser
that has
right
nothing
there.
to do with the hot Viking tattoos. Let me just preface it by saying it's not the eye candy that makes it an 8 or better than Home Alone.
I won't
I
judge.
just liked. I mean, you can judge if you want. I'm still gonna appreciate it. I mean, that's the Saint Nick all of us girls need right there. But it wasn't just that. It was just so well done, and like even the fact that the way he was this costume and he was designed, like it wasn't just some fuzzy red suit. It was the leather but it still looked like it was so well made. It was over the top in some ways, but not to where you didn't want to keep watching it.
Future Santa up there being goofy.
He was doing all right.
Do you have Viking tattoos? Is what I need to know.
IRONCASTER?
Not Viking.
No one has to tell. That's a different show, I think.
He's got Star Wars tattoos. Oh.
But it makes you laugh. To me, it makes you laugh more than Home Alone. It doesn't have as many dry parts. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's just a way better movie. I love this movie, and it's going to be part of my Christmas rotation for sure. Not up there with Year Without a Santa Claus, but it'll be in the top 3.
I would say and again, we haven't never done Home Alone on Talk Hard, so maybe we'll revisit Home Alone, because I did not like Home Alone when it first came into theater. I was like, wait, I don't understand why this movie's making so much money. It's grown on me. I enjoy the watch. I think it's highly overrated. I think it's a movie for its era, people that lived when it came out and they grown up on that kind of thing. But I think you're right in that the difference between this and Home Alone is Home Alone's like this little tiny kid. Could they have pulled all this off? Whereas this movie balanced the kid with Santa to make it, a much more plausible thing. So I agree with you there. And it's not as cheeky. There's times where Home Alone, I mean, obviously it's a little kid. It's a little Macaulay Culkin trying to pull off these lines. Like, the little girl, Trudy, doesn't really have those kind of goofy lines. Like, come and get it, guys. It's like she doesn't really, she's cheering her success, but she's not like goofy. So yeah, I agree with all those. That's fair assessments. So
you want to see Pink get her comeuppance.
Ironcaster, they think we might be going seductive librarian. Give us another look. Let's just see. Seductive librarian.
Wait, let me.
Oh my, he's going all the
He's
hair.
got
too.
Oh, my.
He's got to like tussle his hair.
Just...
Okay,
I didn't fuck up my green screen.
who here calls me a liar when I say that in the next 20, 30 years, Ironcaster is going to be playing in one of those like, I'm Santa. Why don't you tell me what you want for Christmas and I'll send you a personal video, and just raking in the cash left and right because, you know, he's the talk to Santa, northpole.com, guy.
He's growing into the look. My family's wanting me to grow the beard back out again so I can do Santa, and I'm like, it's to me, all I hear is an excuse so I don't have to shave and I can eat a whole lot more cookies. That's all I ever hear. So the Santa has some plus side, Ironcaster. I'm just saying.
You know,
Oh, in that case, I'm growing out the beard. I need more cookies.
Yeah,
I did get a tray of cookies.
planning for the future. That's better than an IRA, baby. That's better than an IRA. Okay,
I got a cookie fund.
Ironcaster, what is the first impression with the old Violent Night?
There's a lot I do enjoy with this movie. It's got its little charms. I like seeing the build up with the family. You're getting to kind of slowly but surely see like kind of how nasty a lot of this extended family can be ultimately. You know, where you have the daughter try to do everything she can to have this like perfect little family set up. And she's looking back at, like, for example, where she's looking at her brother and she's trying to think, like, he's trying to get mom's fortune out from under my nose. And I got to try and get this perfect little family pulled together. We're going to stand right up front and center to try to appease them. And the brother's kind of sitting back like, no, you do your thing. I've already got my plan figured out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, wait, what's he doing? What's his angle? And watching them just, like, tear each other apart was a lot of fun for the film. Where like, I kind of want to see more of. I really would have liked to see more of like this family together trying to do whatever they can to try to, you know, do this. I want to see the Thanksgiving with them.
Oh my gosh.
I do like
that wouldn't be a horrible angle that hasn't really been done. We could do Violent Night 2 where it actually happens at Thanksgiving because Santa has to get pulled away from the North Pole because someone's messed with Trudy on Thanksgiving. Like I could see that. Like that wouldn't be a horrible angle to at least start with a pitch. I mean, I wouldn't rule that out, but I think it's a perfect balance between Home Alone, Die Hard, and Santa's Sleigh. No one's seen Santa's Sleigh, so I get the nice ambiguous throw in thanks to Loki because that's the smarmy elements of the family. It's the Viking, volatile, crazy Santa stuff, and yeah, so yeah, good stuff. So
yeah, I could see like the preview for Violent Night 2, you know. We've got gaily they ring while they sing songs of good cheer, Christmas cheer. And like Santa's doing his thing. You see, you know, Mrs. Claus, Helga, the big, you know, braids, and she's helping him, and something happens like, you know, we're putting up the tree. It's the day after Thanksgiving. And like Pop said, you know, the Trudy alert, you know, girl's in trouble, and she's like, you know, giving him his hammer this time and like getting him out in the armor, and you know the elves are like helping put the armor on while she's putting this like battle Santa gear on. I'm in. Sign me up. I'll buy a ticket.
Man,
I'll go
that'd be
see
so
it.
wicked too. Could you imagine if they had like they're putting armor on the reindeer too? That's never been done either.
The horns,
something like that. Like he's going like total hardcore Viking. Like no, she's being held for ransom by someone that's found out that she connects to Santa, and they're gonna hold her ransom. Kind of like Die Hard. They're gonna hold her for ransom to get to Santa, and yeah.
We want the bag, fat man. You know, they want Santa's bag. Yeah, the magic in the bag.
It would be, I mean, just really because of the way this family is like very high prominent. Like they're tied to all these weapons manufacturers and you know international weapons distributions. Like they don't even have to bring in the Santa angle. Like this family's already got a lot of bodies in their skeletons in their closet already. They don't where these where they don't even need to do that. And then, Trudy's going to nevertheless probably turn and, ask for Santa for help. And we get the eventual tagline of Santa's coming to town.
Man. Yeah, that would be, we basically kind of at least wrote an outline for Violent Night 2. That, I think it's enough to make it, and we can lean into the Thanksgiving, Black Friday part too, lean really into it being an early drop in that weekend to kind of like get the season off with some hardcore edgy stuff, and yet still having that heart with Trudy, because she was good. We want more of her, and we give us an excuse to have a little more of the family. And they're kind of get along, but they don't get along. They're also trying to backstab each other. Like I think it just I don't think they ever change their ways really. So yeah,
maybe they start to kind of go back to the old ways, but then after all that, Santa is there to kind of remind them, like, listen, you don't remember what happened last time I had to come to town to save your guys?
Yeah. Loki, what do you think about this movie, man? How you holding up on it?
On a general action movie, I'm going to give it an 8. On a Christmas movie, though, I'm going to give it a 9. So we don't have enough like this. It's good. It's good-hearted. It's not mean-spirited. They're not, pissing all over people's memories. It's fun. It's exciting. It's got some really good kills in it. The story's good. You say what you want about John Leguizamo playing the bad guy, but besides that, to me, it's all good, man. Yeah. It's funny. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. If you like a slasher, it's got some slasher movie vibes. If you like action, it's got action. Christmas, it is very Christmassy. So, funny, it's got funny. It's definitely got funny.
We should actually do a video on like our scoring system. And like it gets a number and then it gets a multiplier for rewatchability. Like that's the only way to get to 100. It's like it has to be a perfect movie you can rewatch. Like there's so few like hundreds that would be the true scoring system. Would be something like that. This is a movie that's an 8, but man, it's so rewatchable. Like it's so much fun to rewatch. I've not lost a beat. I would be honest. I mean, like I said, maybe that very end part, whatever, with the linguist, but it's a miscasting thing. I'm not even really trying to dog on him personally. He did fine with what he had. He's just not the right choice for the vibe of everything else going on. I think they just could have just done a little bit better. And then the snowmobile guy, if they'd gone with more like, the Carl character, the blonde guy from Lethal Weapon, that guy. He's like, that's the more of the character, but that's the closest thing you get to a criticism for this. It's a total fun and blast of a movie. So yeah, I agree.
Well, going back to what Luke said about the Christmas part of it and the music, I forgot about that part, but even the music is spot on. Like the different mixes and covers they use fit with each scene to me, like amazingly perfect.
Cash, you seem like you were on the edge of jumping in with something else.
Oh, I'm just kind of wondering if, in a way, it isn't. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, like I said, while I do enjoy this movie, I'm wondering if they didn't almost over-engineer things to like build up with this whole millions of dollars. Where if we kind of scaled this back and we kept with like Pink and EVS, and they're just kind of robbing from a fairly well-to-do off family, but still have the Santa elements in there, maybe some of the elements we don't quite need. It's like just thinking like, maybe there was some other ways they could have gone with this, but I will say overall, I think it's an enjoyable film. I think it's a great one to throw on for something a little bit different. I don't know if this is necessarily going to be like in my every year, Christmas list of Christmas movies, my 12 Nights of Christmas or anything, but it's one I'm definitely going to throw out to some friends and say, hey, if you get sick of watching the same movies every single year, definitely give this one a try.
All right, I'm going to make a prediction, Loki. He's going to watch this again. I don't think it's it this year, maybe next year. And the love will go up by at least 30% because you're going to catch so much stuff in that first third of the movie that you didn't catch the first time. You're going to feel you understand the resonance of how later we're going to get the Viking reveal and the violence and the hammer. And I think this is a movie that grows on you. I totally believe that. It's kind of like we're going to talk about Scrooge next year. Scrooge is another one of those. It's a great movie. Have a fun time watching it. Solid 7.5, 8, whatever. But that multiplier, every time you watch that version of Christmas Carol, you're like, holy crap, there's something else you catch. Another commercial in the background, another little reference, it's one of those movies. And I think this one's like that. That's another Die Hard callback, another Home Alone callback. This is another, and that's what this movie is riddled with. It's freaking amazing. Really, really
Muppets
underrated
Christmas Carol is like that too. Muppets Christmas Carol is one of those movies. I couldn't believe until this year that I didn't realize how hard into the paint Michael Caine went with. I mean, he was like, no, this isn't a Jim Henson movie. This is like dark. This is, I'm all in. I am Scrooge. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just kind of like, man, I'm in a Muppets movie. What? No, I'm taking this shit serious. I am Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Christmas Carol adaptations. There's so many I haven't seen though, so I don't want to be totally like some sort of like professor of Christmas Carol movies, but the Muppet one we saw when it came out, and it is a staple. And man, I love that freaking movie. So I don't think we've got that on our list next year.
Hard take. I haven't seen a Muppets Christmas.
Perfect.
Carol.
Let's do that next year. Let's get Muppets Christmas Carol on there for next year with some of the others. And there's another
the other one y'all were mentioning last time, the funny one. Yes.
Yeah, we're doing that one for sure. And I think we need to work in, and maybe this will be our Thanksgiving weekend when our first one, Black Christmas, the 1974 version that's done by Bob Clark, the guy that directs Christmas Story. It's basically a horror movie before horror movies. Like it's like the precursor to Halloween. Like it's not really a slasher movie. It's more like psychological stuff, but it's like this Christmas movie, but it's just really underrated movie. And I have not watched that. I mean, it's at least been 30 years. And one of the other channels did a thing on it, and I'm down the rabbit hole and like, man, I love this movie. This is so good. It kind of fell away and not getting rewatched. So I don't know if any of you have ever seen that one, but yeah, I'm going to do a video on Black Christmas, the 70s. Now, there's two other versions. Not talking about those because Lord knows they look absolutely awful. That's all I ever heard was awful. So, yes. All right. Wow, what a good movie. What a good time. I'm glad we were able to have a good time with this. So
it was a great time. I love this movie.
Next week is also a guilty pleasure and a good time. We're supposed to have a guest, but I haven't heard back from him. So he's over on Pacific 414's group. His name is Cash Money, and he's supposed to be with us next week. He's been with us a while ago when Loki couldn't be here for like the Scooby-Doo one. I think we did Zombie Island with him. He was here for that one. So he was going to come back in for next week, which will be Gremlins. And that will also be on Monday night, not Tuesday, because Tuesday is Christmas Eve. So Mrs. Pops and I need to stay married. So, yeah, we're going to do that on the Monday. Hey, been here for 25 years. You can stop laughing anytime you want, man. I know the ins and outs. How to play this game, brother.
I will be going live on Christmas Day.
Hey, I get it, man. I get it.
At 8, but she encourages that. She's like, no, go talk to people. Make sure they have someone to talk to on Christmas.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
yeah,
she's just like that. So
I'm a phone blower upper on the holidays. For you, almost certainly will hear from me on the major holidays.
He's not kidding. He calls me all the time.
Yeah, it's bad. I just bother him to death. Like, are you done opening presents yet? We talk now. No, I'll do that.
So we open all our presents on Christmas Eve. We don't wait for none of that.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of a split up. I don't know how it's going to go this year because we're not seeing the kids until after Christmas. So they'll be sort of like Christmas with my one daughter and Christmas with each other. So it's like a freaking Jewish holiday this year, I guess. I don't know. So
Eris already got hers.
Yeah, that's good. Has she not showed that off yet?
She got to go see The Undertaker last Saturday.
Oh, I thought there was the other thing that she's supposed to be getting. Did she have the thing yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good. All right, what's going on? What's going on for YouTube Talk tomorrow, brother?
YouTube Talk. I will have our good friend Snowdub on, and we're going to talk about getting strikes, getting warnings, demonetization, how you can handle it, what you need to look at, whether they're going to climb back into your video history, which they do, because I just got a thing the other day saying, oh my God, this is a warning because blah, 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 on this 3-year-old Christmas stream where I absolutely lost it and sound just like Griswold, what Pops was talking about.
Tylenol rant.
Did you get a Tylenol?
I was where I even said that. Where's the Tylenol? And then
I
I
work here
ended
this
the
time.
stream at the end because I was so pissed. They went back and hit me for that the other day. I was like, what? What Christmas special? I haven't done a Christmas special. Oh, that was from like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about how you deal with it, what you can do, what resources you have, because that's all important stuff that a lot of people don't know. And some people just quit or they throw their hands up. You do have options. YouTube isn't as hard to forgive as you think. There are some things that you cross this line and there is no surviving. But there's a lot of times where if you just reach out to them, if you talk to them, if you make a case, you can work stuff out and probably save your channel.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't be on your show tomorrow, but I could also throw my 2 cents in. Is first off, make sure that you're strategically evolving with the times ahead of time. And if you still have, I don't know, 50 shorts on there from when people were doing tons of shorts with just re-edited HBO type comment or Paramount content, is nothing original from you. You're playing with fire when those come back to haunt you, possibly. So things like that. And just don't let a whole bunch of copyright claims pile up. Just ignoring things. But yeah, that's good. That's gonna be a great topic because I just got hit again off something from, it was not very long ago, but it was like a few months ago. Now suddenly this 18 seconds is a problem, and now I got it trimmed down to 12, but it's still getting flagged. So, and it's fine. I did play some original stuff in there, but it's like it's a constant struggle.
Almost all the stuff I get is from years ago. Yeah, I get one every Friday because I do play a Metallica song on Friday night.
Yep.
That's going to be changing up and being an AC/DC song here in just a minute.
Yes.
But
yes. I love AC/DC more than Metallica now. I didn't for a while, but I do now. So,
but
all right,
yeah, I do that knowingly. I know what I'm doing. I know that I can go in and erase it on Sunday morning when they're like, "Hey, we're not letting certain people watch your show because blah blah blah." Okay, mute the music out, and you just go along. But make sure you take care of that. Make sure you do that because if you don't, they can shut you down just for that after too many.
Man, they used to make that stuff. I wonder if we could still do it, but I guess they probably don't want us doing this kind of work. But we used to be able to find those licenses, and you could just buy the license, and you could get like 5,000 airings for like $100 or something. You could get like, you know what I mean? You could get for like, less than $200. You could get several thousand chances at this song or this reference or whatever it is. But I don't even know if that stuff's easily accessible now because they don't want you doing certain things.
Mostly for indie stuff. It's the indie stuff. It's the small creators and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, from the man, he knows how to check you and mech you. Ironcaster, what is going on, brother?
Just kind of that ever growing, ever growing, ever changing, trying to kind of figure things out for myself as I'm trying to make my way in this little YouTube game. As we're trying to kind of shift the mech pit chat around a little bit, kind of still keeping that big robot slant, but trying to dip the toes into a little bit of the pop culture stuff because sometimes having a very specific, very niche subject can be it's a little hard to kind of keep the current news machine fed. And plus for all the excitement I have around the big robot stuff, sometimes it's easier. There is that interest in some of the other adjacent stuff or things that are in that same kind of like pop culture realm that I do want to talk about, but if you keep it too tied down to the one theme, then it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes.
Hey, listen, if you ever need help finding a topic, I've been more than happy to help you. I've been training my chat GPT to follow my instructions, and I've got her pretty trained really right now. I'm like, I need you to do this, and it just she's becoming a really reliable little secretary. I'm enjoying her. So if you need me to put her to use for you, that's how I treat her. I treat her like a 1950s secretary. Hey, chat GPT, come into the room. I need you to write this outline for me. So give me my outline. Here's what I want to do. Blah, 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 blah. Type it all up. Okay. I don't like this paragraph. Take this paragraph, rewrite. So that's how I do. But I didn't do it. I can write a Mech Talk for Ironcaster for sure. So SQUEEKA lady.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to be there Thursday? Are you going to come Thursday? You going to be on there with Roman?
I haven't heard anything from Roman about Thursday. No, I'll
You're coming.
probably you in the chat, I'm sure.
No, you're coming. I'll sneak you the link if I have to. If I'm going to be there, you're going to be there. They invited me to come back. Like I told you earlier, I think Loki, they just want me to do the Tylenol rant. That's all I'm there for. That's all I was good for. Wore the stupid bunny costume last year. I'm not doing that again. It's freaking hot as all get out. So, but yeah, we got with Roman too on Thursday rather, 8 o'clock. So what else you going to be doing, SQUEEKA? You going to be over to anything else this week?
Well, usually Beard and I do our 7 Days to Die on Thursday, but we did that last night just in case it got too late or we had plans to do stuff for the weekend. So not that I'm aware of. Probably going to be here hit and miss for the next couple of weeks because vacation school's about to let out. So who knows? Maybe I'll wander the countryside or I don't know what I'll do. But it's I don't know. I'll pop in when I'm home, but I don't really have any super plans other than if Roman wants something on Thursday, then I'll pop in there, and then I'll be here hopefully next Monday.
Not hopefully. You need to be here. You're the rock that's holding this foundation of this thing up. What are you talking about?
Whoa! Don't
You're the foundation,
no rock.
and he's the
I'm like
hair.
a lump of coal. You trade me for some six-pack.
No.
But yeah, and just wandering around. I that's about it. Sneaking into people's chats and doing bad things on Loki's Friday night shows. Other than that,
it's very good. I would encourage such behavior. So it's very good. It's very good. So.
But
that's the only other thing I can think of. A Friday after List Guy's show or after Loki show on a Friday. I've been doing a little popcast here, just doing a little show. This week we'll have Project Storytime and Ryan Roger Athay will be joining me for some of the horrible Christmas stuff that's out there. That's right. The Santa versus Satan 1959 film. We'll talk about Santa Claus conquering the Martians. We'll talk about that horrible Santa clown Christmas one. Oh, Wizzos. So we'll talk about some of just the ridiculousness stuff that's out there. And then we'll debate whether or not I should, air all of those on Christmas or not. I don't think I'm going to do it for this year. Maybe I'll do it next year. But most of them are in public domain. Most of them I can there's a ton of cartoons, stuff like that. I'd love to do that for a whole day of content. But don't think I'm going to get to it this year. But yeah, that'll be my Friday show. My last one. I'm going to do Friday the next week or two after that. But I think the first of the year, I'll be doing Fridays pretty regularly. So let's see. Yeah, is she checking the dial? She might be. We gotta keep an eye on her.
And I'm over 80 subs, y'all. I might have to stick to my guns if I get to 100 and do this little, actually make content. I was looking at that the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, who are these people?
Oh, if that's all it takes, I'm gonna sabotage you. Just
no! Don't do that. No, I was kidding. Don't do that. I'm
gonna put your name out there. Listen, why is she not at 100 subs? You know it comes at 100.
No.
SQUEEKA time.
It was amazing. We know other people too. So yes, I agree with you. Coordinated effort to squeak over 100. Start telling your people I'll tell culture and we'll.
I was laughing at it. I'm not one of those YouTube people that needs like subs.
100 by the end of the year would be like done. Like if we just put it out there, it's done by the end of the year. So we'll have our January plan of when we get SQUEEKA time.
And I was like, wow, like why is there 80 people here when there's no content?
I'm just saying, SQUEEKA, I think we need to come up with a goal for you. Like if you get to 100 by the end of the year, like are we gonna get another recipe?
Oh, I don't know.
I think we need you reading some more recipes. I know Skoda would appreciate it.
Wasn't there a thing about if Machini hit like something this month that he was going to do a Machini? We need a SQUEEKA-kini.
What's
Squeakini?
No.
Squeakini.
I'm not on board with that.
We're just kidding.
You do whatever you want to do, Mary.
SQUEEKA's like,
Mary Squeakmas. Matt came by. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, all of those are, Chris. They're all just unbearably bad. And I said I was not going to rewatch them again. Thank you so much for that. I wasn't going to rewatch them, but I'm more than happy to talk about them. They are just, it's one of those things like it makes Ironcaster's 2B stuff look like great. Like they look phenomenal because these movies are just there, and some of these things are just like, I mean, $100,000 budget. Like just there's no, it's just, or you know, the one's like a TV guy. He's like a TV guy who made a movie. It's just a complete, you know, vanity project. So absolutely god awful stuff. So anyway, without that, I want to get to the last. We're going to replay that intro again for anybody who missed the first part of it. Play that part. just living vicariously through any excuse to play Santa's sleigh. So yeah, look, you'll have to endure that again. But till next time, we talk Gremlins. Be blessed, everybody. Talk hard.
When I was about 8 years old, some kid in the 3rd grade told me that Santa Claus wasn't real. And I think ever since then, it lit a flame in me that I would like to make young children believe that their presents on Christmas morning are being brought to them by a large, rotund man in a red suit.
And then I watched the first 5 minutes of the movie with Fran Drescher. Santa here. Yes, Virginia. There is a Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. And he goes about murdering this despicable, annoying, effed up family where the son-in-law is banging the mother-in-law and all of this, you know, you're getting Kate Spade and you're not, and it's like this despicable family. And there's James Caan going, I just want a moist turkey. I want a moist turkey, Fredo. Mm-hmm. And Fran Drescher's like, moist, that'd be nice. And you're like, oh my God, please kill all of them. And then, like Jesus on the mountain, there's Bill Goldberg coming down the effing chimney, and he murders the entire family and the dog. Because even the yapper dog's annoying. The dog's first. Mm-hmm. So,